This program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com.
we are on the air now. Okay, sorry. We'll do this over. Restart. Good morning. Thank you for tuning into Viewpoint on 96.3 FM WLCN on October 1st. And a fall day, we need a lot of rain, don't we, Reagen?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Folks, in the station today, we have Reagen Tibbs. He is the commercial agriculture educator for our local extension office serving Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties. Yep. And welcome, Reagen. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I feel like it's been a while since I've been up here, so I appreciate you having me back on.
Yeah, I thought we'd do a 2025 recap and
Absolutely.
What we got looking forward to for 2026.
Yeah,
and,
we just, yesterday was the end of our program year, so we have a bunch of different years that it's hard to keep track of sometimes.
In your head
fiscal year, academic year, and so our program year actually runs from October 1st to September 30th every year, and so yesterday was the end of our program year, and today is the start of our program year 2026, so a lot of great things in the pipelines for this upcoming year, and hoping to continue to make an impact across our 3 counties.
And to kick it off, too, next week is National 4-H Week.
Yes, it is.
Too, so.
Yes, it is. The 4-H is a big part of what we do in Extension. That's probably one of the more direct impacts we have in the community, making those connections with community members and improving the lives of youth across, not just here in Illinois, not just here in our counties, but across the United States. I mean, the 4-H program is, I'm a 4-H alum. I think you're hard-pressed to find people who aren't a 4-H alum and who have had a tremendous impact and who have been impacted greatly by the 4-H program.
And yes, we are in rural central Illinois, and sometimes people just think 4-H as livestock or grain, but it is not. You want to kind of highlight what are the different avenues, projects kids can have in 4-H that is non-agriculture related. I mean, I'm not picking on ag, but non-agriculture related.
Yeah, no, there's a saying when I did speaking for Illinois 4-H, when we would go down and talk to legislators in Springfield, one of the sayings we always liked was 4-H is not just plows, cows, and sows. There's a lot more to 4-H. There's STEM, there's visual arts, there's cooking, there's sewing, there's woodworking, there's metals, there's electricity. There's all these different projects that help build life skills, that help build those key skills that no matter what you do, whether you stick with that project area and that turns into your career, or just a hobby you like to pick up every time you can. 4-H provides those life skills of time management, of responsibility, of learning how to do things that may not be necessarily within your comfort zone. That's what 4-H is there for, to provide those important learning experiences for youth, even starting in our Clover Buds all the way up until age 18.
Speaking of Clover Buds, I know we've got a couple of Clover Buds or kids that started in Clover Buds in Logan County, and again, not picking on livestock, but what they've done is they've got one is selling popcorn now. He's raising popcorn and then selling his product at the farmer's market. And then another one we have, she started out with gardening, started out with produce, obviously, and sells at the farmer's market and also has a stand there at her house you can drive by. So truly, it sparks that interest and, fuels that passion in kids, makes them think outside the box, does it not then?
Absolutely. It helps kids find their niche. It finds what they're interested in, what they want to do. I mean, for me, I developed my interest in ag policy, doing 4-H, going to speaking for Illinois 4-H and Capital Connections, and meeting with legislators and sharing the 4-H story, the importance that 4-H offers to kids, not just in rural communities, but across the state, whether you're in Cook County, Springfield, far southern Illinois, down in Cairo. 4-H provides really awesome opportunities for everybody across the state.
Mention Cook County real quick. This past year, I don't know if you realize this or not, at the Illinois Beef Expo, I'm going through the list of of the classes, et cetera, and I'm looking at the steer classes, and you look over to see where the kids are from. There was at least 3 to 4 kids there from Chicago.
Really?
The city said Chicago.
Huh,
anyway,
interesting.
No, and yes, so they do have, livestock. They're down there showing steers, and the steers were awesome. By the way, I'll say that those steers were top notch. But so, you can be in the suburbs of Chicago and have livestock as well.
Well, and so there's Chicago High School for the Ag Sciences, and we actually have a dedicated educator that works at the Chicago High School for the Ag Sciences and provides those ag opportunities to those students and shows them what agriculture is like, not just in that northern part of the state, but also down in the rest of the state. Like down here, where it's all pretty much agriculture. It's a lot lot of livestock, it's a lot of corn and soybean operations, giving those kids those experiences as well that may not necessarily be in 4-H, but still giving them that opportunity to see what agriculture's like across the state.
I mean, sewing and baking and where they can go from there.
Absolutely.
Photography.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of 4-H and kicking off and enrollment, what is going on with the kids? We talked before we went on the air.
Yep.
Someone's been very generous with donations.
Yeah, we've had some very generous donations from multiple people this year, and so if you are going to enroll in 4-H in either Logan, Menard, or Sangamon counties, your enrollment fee is going to be covered this year. Again, that's thanks to some very generous donations from various people who have recognized that impact that 4-H has, and we want to expand that opportunity to all of our youth across our 3 counties. And so if you are interested in 4-H, there's not going to be any enrollment fee. That's been waived thanks to those generous donations. So this is a great time to get involved in 4-H and see the different areas that we do have available. Like you said, it's not just on agriculture, it's not just gardening, it's sewing, it's baking, it's visual arts, it's a whole range of different things that you can get involved in. Writing and poetry, we have those as project areas as well. So even if you just like to write, if you like to write poetry, if you like to write short stories, plays, I think, is a project area.
I've seen that, yes.
So like that's the thing, you don't have to be involved or interested in agriculture. You can be into musical theater, and that can still be a project area for you in 4-H.
And then it also opens up avenues down the road for scholarships.
Absolutely, it does, and it looks great on resumes. I mean, I can't tell you how many times when you're applying for, like if you're trying to go to college and apply for scholarships, or trying to apply for internships or certain programs, when they see 4-H as something you were involved in as a young person, they really, people really see that and value that and see that you were dedicated, you were part of your community, you were active in your community, and you learned those key skills that are really important for life.
So the clover buds, not to put you on the spot, do you remember the age? And I should have looked it up. I apologize.
I believe it's 5 to 8.
5 to 8, yes.
I believe it's 5 to 8, and they
can call the extension office and
find out
their local clover bud.
Yeah, we have a list in our office of all of our 4-H clubs and all of our clover bud clubs across our 3 counties. Plus, we have spin clubs, special interest clubs, so clubs that are focused on just one particular project area or a couple project areas. They can call any of our 3 offices. Our office in Lincoln, the phone number is 217-732-8289. You can talk to Shauna or whoever's there, and we'll get you the necessary details. We can get you signed up and get you involved with 4-H.
And again, it's free.
Yep.
Keywords, free, folks.
Yeah, for anyone in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, enrollment this year is free.
Awesome. That is great. So your past year of 2025, I'm going to give a recap. What did you accomplish? What do you want to accomplish?
Yeah,
and then moving forward with that.
Yeah, we had a lot of great things going on. It's hard to believe that I'm coming up on 2 full years of being with Extension, starting in January 2024. So definitely, it's been a great journey. I work with some amazing people in Extension. Had the chance to meet a lot of people across our 3 counties. This year we had a lot on our plates this summer, especially with Farm Progress Show being back in Decatur. That was a major effort, not just Extension, but the College of Aces and the university overall. If you ever went to our U of I tent there at the Farm Progress Show, it was
phenomenal.
We had a ton of things for practically everyone. Our Master Gardeners, our Master Naturalists, and our horticulture program had a very large display of plants across the entire tent. We showed off different crops from across the state, showing off different growing conditions and talking to producers, not just from Illinois, but across the country and even across the world, who came in, were asking questions about diseases, about tassel wrap was the issue we saw this summer. Talking to those producers, seeing what they're experiencing on the ground and how that could impact their operations moving forward. That to me was the most important part. Of course, the educational opportunities that Todd Gleason and they all had with the speakers, talking about different topics throughout the week was important as well, and showing off the various projects we're working on. So Teresa Steckler, for example, she's one of our livestock educators or specialists, and she's doing a lot of work and research on ticks, the Asian longhorn tick and various other ticks that can spread diseases. She's doing a lot of work on that, and she had a booth there helping people learn about ticks, how to collect them, and how to ensure that we protect ourselves against these ticks. We had our Center for Digital Agriculture showing off their AI projects and various other things that showing how we can utilize technology to improve our farming methods. I mean, the Farm Progress Show was a true representation of everything we do, not just in Extension, but the College of Aces overall, and it was a great time, and the weather was amazing for Farm Progress Show.
It was picture perfect.
We couldn't have asked for better weather, honestly. It was amazing.
It was. That was great. My JV boys golf team, we talked one day, we were going to a match, and the boys saw a pumpkin, pumpkins growing out in the field. Big, if you want to call it a pumpkin patch, but not your typical pumpkin patch, a field of pumpkins.
Yeah.
And they did not realize that Illinois is the largest producer of pumpkins.
Yes, we are.
Have you seen more and more farmers in our area now switching over, rotating their crops to pumpkins possibly, or not? Besides doing your traditional rotation of crops between corn and soybeans, are they also incorporating some of those acres to pumpkins?
Maybe not necessarily pumpkins, but definitely cover crops. We've talked about cover crops for many, many years now. I mean, it's something I remember when I was still in high school, this idea of cover crops.
So it is considered a cover crop?
Potentially, yes. It's not your typical cover crops that we might, but I mean, anything can be a cover crop if you kind of try hard enough.
Right.
But definitely.
But are they rotating them?
Yeah, there are some people who do incorporate that as a rotation. Absolutely. Last couple weeks, we went down to Eckert's Orchard for a professional development opportunity, and they were talking to us how about they rotate their pumpkins out, and they rotate their pumpkin fields with their grain fields. I mean, it was really interesting to see how they're taking their pumpkin acres and they're kind of rotate where they're planting them at in the field, not just switching from field to field rotation, but actually in the field.
Within the field itself.
Yeah,
then.
Within the field itself, and then how they take that and transfer it and put it into grain production, take those acres that were in grain production and put them into pumpkin production.
Right. So, because I know we do have a farmer in our area, about a half a mile from the farm there, and he did put quite, 20 acres, don't quote me, folks, but anyway, he does have a large field of pumpkins now.
Yeah.
So, but, Reese mentioned that, is he rotating it out due to, the nitrogens, what goes back in, also pest control? Do you see that?
Yeah, cover crops have a wide use. It's not just for keeping nutrients. It can be for pest control, it can be for weed control, protect soil erosion. There are a lot of different things that cover crops can be useful for, and that's one thing I always try to remind people is, I think sometimes we get caught up in the fact that, cover crops work, if I just pick a cover crop, it's going to work for this. Not necessarily. There are some varieties that do better than others at certain things. There are some varieties of cover crops that do better at soil erosion control. There are some that do better at keeping nutrients in the soil. There are some that do better at weed suppression and weed management. So it's really a combination of what exactly you're looking for and then picking the right variety or varieties to move forward with that.
So that kind of leads into what you've got coming up.
Yep.
There outside of Hartsburg for your field days, and lead us into that.
Yeah, so if people didn't know, we have a small research plot just outside of Hartsburg. It's about 17 acres or so. It was donated to Extension back when it was first established here in Logan County for the purpose of doing research and demonstration. And so once harvest wraps up this fall, I'm working with Dr. John Jones, who's one of our agronomists located over on campus, and we're going to do some cover crop trials over there. I'm really excited to do that. The purpose of Extension was to show research and bring research from campus to the local communities and show the impact that it has for local producers. And so I'm really excited we're going to get to do some cover crop trials there. We're still working on some of the details, some of the logistics of it, of course, but we're going to start this fall. And our goal, or my goal at least, is to show off cover crops, of course, but not necessarily just in the sense of the environmental benefits of it, but for forage and grazing. How can we utilize cover crops? How can cattle producers benefit from cover crops as well? Because sometimes I feel like with cover crops, you think, we'll have to terminate it in the spring. Well, we can use that cover crop for forage. We can use it in an additional manner to feed our cattle or to feed any other type of livestock. And so I'm really excited with the opportunity to work with Dr. Jones on this and to get some research out there to show people what all can be done with cover crops.
Because some of them people don't realize your farmers are planting turnips and they're turning the cattle out there and grazing off the turnips.
Yep, turnips and radishes or even another or one I've heard as well. So absolutely, there are a ton of different options within cover crops that can be used for livestock and for cattle.
Wonderful. We're going to take a quick timeout, commercial break, pay some bills. When we come back, we have Reagen Tibbs from our local extension office. We'll be right back.
Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com.
Culver's is a family restaurant. To me, that means being the place that puts a smile on everyone's face. We're famous for our cooked-to-order butter burgers and frozen custard made daily inside our restaurants. But we've always believed more menu options mean more ways to brighten your day. We source the finest chicken to bring you our tenders and chicken sandwiches. And our cheese curds. They're a Wisconsin tradition we're proud to share with you. So take the next meal shift off and let us take care of you. Welcome to Delicious.
Culver's, home of the Butterburger, 2530 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center makes an impact locally and beyond through a wide range of events, ministries, and outreaches. Pastors Steve and Debbie Owens invite you to worship Sunday mornings at 10:30 and attend Wednesday night Bible studies at 6:30. Connect with FGEC online, follow them on Facebook, download their app, and visit their new website at myfgec.org with live YouTube video streams as well as recordings of services and special events. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center, 304 North McLean Street in Lincoln.
What does it mean to be rich? Maybe rich is less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering magic. Rich is being able to keep your loved ones close and also send them away. Rich is living life your way and having someone who can help you get there. The key to being rich is knowing what counts.
Contact Edward Jones Financial Advisor Sal Polis, 217-732-4001.
Raider fans, you all know there's a home field advantage when it comes to sports. The same applies when purchasing a car or truck or having your vehicle serviced. You'll have the home field advantage when shopping at Grau Incorporated in Lincoln. The trained sales staff at Grau Chevy Buick will provide you with a no-pressure sales process. They'll put you at ease all the way through the delivery. When it comes time for service, the trained professionals will care for your vehicle like it's their own. Call or stop by the dealership on North Kickapoo Street in Lincoln or online at grauinc.com.
It's Grau right now.
Hi, welcome back to Viewpoint on 96.3 FM WLCN. Folks, again, if you have any questions for Reagen, 217-648-5510. If you don't want to call in right now, you can call. They got questions. How do they reach out to you, Reagen?
So you can call any of our extension offices. Like I said, our Logan County Extension Office in Lincoln, our number is 217-732-8289. So they can call us. And if I'm not in the office, our staff will send me a message now. And I usually try to get back to people pretty quickly. Or they can email me directly. It's just rgtibbs@illinois.edu. Or just go and find our website, extension.illinois.edu/LMS, and they can find all the staff that we have throughout our unit.
Wonderful. So off the air, you did a trivia question.
I did.
With us, and I flunked.
Dara, you should have been surprised. You know I love trivia, and I love useless knowledge. So you should have expected awesome. This one. Come on.
I know, but I mean, this is a good one. So go ahead, tell folks, what was your question for us?
Yes, my question was, because you mentioned pumpkins. Now,
yes.
Illinois is the #1 producer of pumpkins in the United States. Illinois is the #1 producer of another crop in the United States.
And folks, he got us on this one. Even Jim and Lloyd didn't know, correct?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Horseradish.
Horseradish. Illinois is the #1 producer of horseradish in the United States. Down in the kind of the East St. Louis area, going down to Southern Illinois, that is the the main area where we see horseradish production, and so Illinois is the #1 producer of horseradish in the entire United States.
So I looked it up on Google. In June, they did have the International Horseradish Festival. Say that 3 times. That was in June down at Collinsville.
Yep.
And then it looks like in the winter months, they do have the conference, the horseradish conference also too. But they do partner with the Illinois Growers producers.
Yeah, the Illinois Specialty Growers Association.
Growers,
Yeah, absolutely. And that is an organization that we partner with as well. In extension, we have a couple staff members who are dedicated to specialty crops. Elizabeth Wally is one of them. I'm sure if people are in the specialty grower space, they've heard of Elizabeth Wally. She's kind of a legend in that space. And also our local foods team and our horticulture team partner with them a lot, especially for the Everything Local Conference, which is a partnership between specialty growers, the Illinois Farm Bureau, Illinois Extension, and other organizations. That usually happens in Springfield every January. I believe it's at the end of January, 2026. And basically, it's an opportunity for specialty growers of kind of any
what would be kind of considered a specialty crop? Not to put you on the spot. Not to put list
no,
all
that's
of
fine.
them,
I think it's. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be specialty growers. I mean, at previous conferences, I've interacted with people who grow corn and soybeans, but they also maybe grow apples, or they have some type of fruit, or horseradish, or pumpkins. Those types of things that they may not be solely focused on specialty crops. They may have some typical row crops, but they're just trying to learn and meet with other producers and talk to each other and learn what all they're doing with and share those ideas between each other. And like I said, it could be specialty crops. It can be. I know last year I moderated sessions on distributing meat and eggs and how to do that through social media and how to use the internet to help do that. I've sat through sessions on kind of cottage food laws, and if you're going to sell cottage food, what are the things you need to learn about, what are the things you have to do. So it really is a pretty diverse group of people who come to Everything Local, and it is an amazing time in Springfield to do that.
I think, and correct me, and you can tell me what you think about this. I always like looking for a positive out of a negative. I think some of the positives that came out of 2020 was highlighting where does our food come from?
Absolutely.
Where is it sourced from?
Absolutely.
And I believe 2020 has helped elevate, enlighten, educate, whatever adjectives you can think of about our food. Do you think that as well? It seems like, like you mentioned the cottage laws. That's, you got more and more your pop-up of your sourdough bakeries to, growing of the produce. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so too. I think people, started to ask, hey, where do I get this food from? They haven't maybe not be able to go to the grocery store, or the grocery store might be out of it, or the prices might be absurd. Is there somewhere else I can find it cheaper? And talking to some producers down there at Everything Local, they agreed with that. I mean, they've definitely said that since 2020, since the restrictions were lifted, and since we kind of returned to normal, if there ever is such a thing, they definitely have appreciated kind of that people were still interested in local food, and people are still interested in what we do. And so, absolutely. Since 2020, we definitely, I do agree that we've definitely seen more people interested in trying to get produce, eggs, meat, milk, you name it, from local producers to support our local economy.
Wonderful. Lloyd, do you have any questions for Reagen?
Well, you were talking about the different specialty crops, or have there been any, I don't know, new trends, like things that didn't used to be grown in Illinois maybe in the last 5 or so years that are tending to be more and more popular that you've seen?
Not that I'm aware of. Granted, that's not a space I usually work in, so I may not be the best person to answer this question. But definitely they have looking at new practices and new ways of producing. When I was down at Eckert's a couple weeks ago for that professional development opportunity, they talked about the different ways they're growing strawberries and even berries. They have rotating trestles that they can, one season they'll have one side of the trestle that will grow and will be very flush, and then they rotate it next season the next side, and then they just keep rotating it back and forth as a way to maximize their space that they have down there and get more production out of it. So definitely, maybe if we don't see more crops, we're seeing new ways of production, and that's one way that Extension has helped in educating people on how to utilize those methods of production and how they can implement them on their operations.
Wonderful. What is your role there, or what is commercial agriculture?
I've gotten this question quite a few times, and I tend to.
I mean, it's vast. It seems. I mean, it's a vast role.
And there are some of our staff people who focus solely on agronomy, some who focus on agribusiness. I tend to take the approach of, and I think I mentioned this the first time I was on with you, that I'm the first ag educator we've had in this unit in quite some time.
You are, and you're an asset, a great asset.
And so I try to always help people no matter what type of questions come my way. I think it's important that we try to provide that access and provide the opportunities to get that information and to learn different things. So I've answered questions on a whole range of things. So obviously, we get a lot of cash rent questions. What should my cash rents be? Is this too low? Is this too high? I get a lot of those questions. I get a lot of production questions in terms of corn and soybeans, but even alfalfa is a question that I get pretty frequently, actually, and it kind of baffles some of my colleagues. Like, I've never had that question before. I'm like,
really?
Yeah. So I've had to learn some of those things that maybe it's not something I know about, but I have colleagues who do, and so working with them to not just educate the person who calls in, but also myself as well, so that I can help answer those questions in the future. So that definitely is one of the best things about this job, is you never stop learning.
That's awesome. Well, and bees. I kind of want to circle back to the bees. You mentioned, alfalfa and pollinating. That's another avenue also too.
Absolutely.
And I've seen that it's starting to grow, or been growing. I guess it's been heightened.
I know our horticulture educator, Jennifer Fishburne, has partnered with the Prairie State Beekeepers the last couple of years in doing a program on beekeeping. I think it's called Intro to Beekeeping, and I think it's like a 5 or 6 week program, and don't quote me on that, but basically, if you're wanting to start out and learn how to raise bees, you would take this class, and they would tell you everything they learned. And it's one of the people is Rich Ramsey, who, if you're down in the New Berlin area, you've heard that name probably before. People who have been growing bees and raising bees for a long time partake that knowledge and give it to people who are starting new, or maybe people who are just wanting to relearn some of those basics about beekeeping. And so,
because it's a cycle. It's not just agriculture is a cycle. You start from the bees, pollinating and going from there and going from there, and then, for alfalfa, for example, feeding, the end crop is feeding our livestock. So it encompasses everyone.
Everything is connected. Whether you know it or not, you are connected to agriculture in some way. And I think that's a message that I always like to partake to people, especially audiences that may not be from a rural community, is that my title might be commercial agriculture, but my job, I think, is to share the knowledge that agriculture impacts our daily lives. It's not just the food on our table, it's clothes, it's there's a whole range of things that agriculture
when you get in the
impacts.
car.
Absolutely. And so
the insulation in your house, byproducts from livestock, the glass, everywhere. People kind of sit back and look at you. Really? Yes.
Yep.
Agriculture touches your life every day, whether you realize it or not.
Absolutely, it does.
So, what other programs do you have coming up you can think of you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, so the next big thing that's on my plate is coming this February the 17th, is our agronomy summit in Springfield. This was an event that started up in Northern Illinois. Our colleagues up there have been doing this for quite a long time, and we've decided last winter to expand this to a program series throughout the state. We had, I want to say, 4 or 5 locations. This year we've expanded it to 8. And so Springfield is one of the locations for it this year. It's going to be at our Sangamon County Extension office. And basically this is an opportunity for people, for whether you are a producer, a salesman, you're just involved in the industry, doesn't matter, to come and hear from our researchers and experts from campus. So at my summit in Springfield, I'll of course be talking. I'll do a little bit about ag policy. John Jones, our agronomist, he's going to come talk about our Hartsburg research plot and the research we're doing there. Dennis Bowman, he's going to come talk about digital agriculture. I think he's going to focus on yield maps and how we can utilize the data from yield maps to make better decisions for our operations. We're going to have, I'm blanking on who else we're even having. Dr. Aaron Hager, who's going to talk about water hemp and water hemp resistance. And so the idea is to connect those local producers, connect those local resources with our expertise and our experts from campus. And again, it's not just in Springfield. We have agronomy summits throughout the entire state. I think I know we have one in Peoria. We've got a couple in Southern Illinois, a couple more up in Northern Illinois. We're spread out across the state. We're trying to do that to give our educators the opportunity to show off, not just what they do locally, but what the university and what Extension can provide throughout the entire state. And so,
and how to utilize Extension.
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
The tool here is Extension. We need to utilize
make those connections with our local producers and our local resources. And And so I'm really looking forward to that. Our registrations aren't open yet, but keep an eye on our website and on our social medias for when we do have registration that goes live. I believe I'm going to charge, it's going to be $20. It's going to include a lunch with that $20. And so we're really excited to have that. It'll be at our Sangamon County Extension office in Springfield, which is right by the airport if you've ever been out to.
And it's got a larger facility.
Yep, we have about I think our meeting room about 50 people in there. So we've definitely got space. And if we need to have a bigger location, hey, that's a good problem to have. And so thankfully we're in an area where we have some larger meeting spaces if we need to. But yeah, definitely keep an eye out. February 17th, the Springfield Agronomy Summit, which is going to be at our Sangamon County Extension office.
Wonderful. Anything else you want to possibly touch base on you can think of at the moment?
Yeah, no. I mean, people, if they want to keep looking for information, I have a blog, Farm Focus, that I update. I've been a little bit sparse over the summer just with all the different things we've had going on, but now that we're kind of back into the fall season, I'll keep updating more. I've got a couple planned blog posts on the way, and always looking for more topics to write on for that. So just keep an eye on our website. You can just search Farm Focus Illinois Extension. It'll take you right to it. But yeah, just keep an eye out on our social medias and our website for everything we have going on, and get connected with Extension, whether it's me, our horticulture team, 4-H, whoever it is. Keep an eye out, because we have a lot of great things that are going on.
Awesome, great. I appreciate it. Lloyd, you got any other?
No.
Jim?
Yeah,
Jim's good too. All righty. Well, folks, thank you for tuning in to Viewpoint at 96.3 FM. Thank you, Reagen. Greatly appreciate you being here today, educating us, letting us know we do need to utilize Extension. That is a great key source for us here in our area, and we're blessed and honored to have you. So.
And thanks for having me on. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to share what we do in Extension. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Great. Thanks. Folks, the Lord and weather willing, we'll be back next week.
This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. This program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.